Ever since writing its way into our hearts in 2017, Doki Doki Literature Club returns, this time on consoles and once again on PC for an encore in Doki Doki Literature Club Plus, a redux that aims to appeal to fans both new and old by expanding upon the Doki Doki universe, with new content including a new virtual machine interface, an expanded soundtrack, redrawn graphics, and bonus side content that serves as a prequel to the main narrative. The new side stories set apart from the main game explore the formation of the Literature Club and the bonds between its four main cast members. It is these side stories that accentuate this new version of the game, offering a deeper dive into the Doki Doki verse while simultaneously acting as a grand final goodbye to the franchise. But is this version of the game worth the price of admission? Stay tuned to find out. The game sees you play as a faceless protagonist who joins the Literature Club out of obligation to your childhood friend Sayori. There, you meet the other three key members of the group: Natsuki, the pastel pink-haired tsundere girl who loves manga and baking; Yuri, the lavender-haired shy girl who loves horror and fantasy novels; and Monika, the club president and big sister figure of the group who offers you advice throughout the game. The first act plays out as a typical high school visual novel affair where you talk to the girls and play a fun poem writing minigame to gain the affection of the girl that you like the most. It is in the game's later acts in which the narrative is completely turned on its head and it becomes a psychological horror game, which comes as unexpected and very welcome as it stops the game from becoming too stale too soon into its playtime. The side stories, touted as the main feature of this version, are also a welcome addition as they provide a better understanding of how each girl came to be friends and how each of them learned to overcome their differences in the face of adversity. These short bite-sized tales are bittersweet, but serve as an uplifting reminder that these characters are more than just the one-dimensional tropes they originally were portrayed to be. Doki Doki Literature Club is a visual novel game. Because of this, the amount of player input is minimal during the main portion of the game. The visual novel gameplay is interrupted at the end of each day where you get to play a poem writing minigame, and depending on what words you choose will dictate which of the three main love interests you write the poem for. It is in the game's later acts where the linear nature of the game is shaken up, and more fourth wall breaking elements are introduced, which are far more interesting in their execution, and as a result are far more enjoyable in terms of gameplay. The side stories are the most linear form of visual novel gameplay, offering no minigames or player choices. This was quite disappointing from a playability perspective, though after the main game, being able to just turn it on and let the scenarios play out while enjoying the new visuals and music is a nice relaxing break from what you just endured in the former portion. The game is short, and the entire game can be completed in around 10 hours if you have the text set to auto, but if you're a fast reader, you may find the game to be over in around 7 or 8 hours if you are not bothered about hitting the reset button to play again. For this version of the game, the graphics relating to character portraits and background elements have been redrawn as to not look dated on a high definition display. While the changes seem minimal because of the nature of the art style already looking unique and crisp, the removal of the 720p blur in favour of a sharp 1080p does well to make the image look more pristine. Colours are way more vibrant and the more intricate details of wide shots really pop. This is especially apparent in the side stories, which use a panorama to showcase a few of the new environments found in the game, all of which when coupled with a beautiful soundtrack really does well to create an overall peaceful and almost angelic atmosphere. That being said, the game is small in scale, so there is only a handful of environments you will visit, so while the graphics are nice, they do end up blending together somewhat as you will repeatedly visit these environments throughout multiple playthroughs. Within the context of the game this is fine, but I wish that this Plus version added some more scenes set outside of the boundaries of the school. The inclusion of the CG viewer is a nice way of viewing artworks and promotional materials you have unlocked. You can also set any of the artwork you like as your menu background, which is a neat touch. Doki Doki's soundtrack has always been notable for how it encapsulates the joys and wonders of high school and friendship, the sadness and sorrow of love and loss, and the horror of regret and ramifications. The shift in the soundtrack's tone is as genius as how the game does so itself, with everything turning from happy-go-lucky to existential dread within a matter of hours. The Plus edition of this game expands the soundtrack to better accompany the new side story's tonal shift away from horror back into a more traditional high school affair, albeit one with more heart and feeling which the original scope of the game did not allow. The new tracks have more body, flair, and meaning pertaining to the side story's underlying themes. They more perfectly capture each of the girls' personalities and transition smoothly during emotional moments. Thankfully, this version of the game includes a music player which lets you listen to the soundtrack in the menu. You are also able to make a playlist of your favourite songs that you can listen to on repeat as you do other things. The game must be open in the background to do this though, which is a shame for the PC version. All in all, the soundtrack is great and it perfectly captures the feelings the game intends to impart upon the player. Doki Doki Literature Club Plus is the definitive way to play the original game, with new bells and whistles that separate from its original edition. Its console release has been long overdue, and new fans will be able to finally explore the horrors of being part of the Literature Club on the platform of their choice. And old fans can finally rejoice that they have finally received at least some form of closure which they have been yearning for years. While visual novels may not be the cup of tea for everyone, Doki Doki Literature Club's unique spin on the genre is sure to capture the attention of many gamers, mainly because of its bizarre appeal and attention to detail when it comes to the surreal aspect of games as a medium. I can say for myself that while not originally a fan of the visual novel genre, DDLC Plus was able to captivate me in a way which other games have not, and it has rightfully earned a spot in my library as one of those games I can go back to occasionally to remind myself of how great games can be when some thought and real creativity is put into it. So if you would like to try something new, or are already a fan, then Doki Doki Literature Club Plus is totally worth the small price of admission.